Trick. Do it again. This week on News Time, I go trick-or-treating. Here we go. Trick-or... Oh, come on. That was rude. Jeez. Okay, I decided to sneak in this time. Let's see if we can do it. All right. Trick-or-treat. Hi, No, don't call the police. Please, I can't go to jail again.
It's news time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
This is the time of the year when I'm reminded of my favorite proverb. Boo, I'm gonna scare you. Boo, ninny poo. Welcome back to News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the comedy horror TV news that you didn't know about. I'm Lazy Freddy Krueger. It's that time of year again. The air is chilling, mysteries are popping up, and pumpkin spice-laden products finally make sense. One thing we never account for, however, are the abundance of horror-style shows making their way to TV. Fox had The Exorcist for a couple of seasons. Even Cartoon Network sometimes airs those scary godmother things that you swear were good when you were younger. Come on. Look at everything. Here we are in a new witching season with a new set of scary specials and shows to admire. Still, we can always plan for the Ghost of Scary Future. Enter James Wan and New Line. The two have been in partnership for a while with Wan's Conjuring series that in itself is very good, while the spin-offs leave a little to be desired. The two have teamed up with Stage 13, a digital arm of Warner Bros. For a horror series. Not just any horror series, a horror reality series. Yes, I know. Hold your applause. The same company behind Top Chef and Project One-Way are said to be along for the ride as well. This new show is a way for Wan to help facilitate the next great horror director. Over the course of 13 episodes, 13 up-and-coming filmmakers will get their chance to present 13 of the scariest shorts possible. To help judge the proceedings, panelists will include top horror producers, directors, and writers. This show sounds like exactly the kind of push not only the horror, but industry entirely needs. And imagine if one of these next big creators was a person of color or a woman. Wan is a trendsetter in his field. He might not be as big as Blumhouse, but he is more diverse, more so than that Bloom guy. This isn't the first time a horror property was made its way to TV. Really big stretch. As I mentioned before, The Exorcist was a Fox stand-in for the time it was on. This is especially surprising since it aired on Friday nights. Then there's the other Fox horror series, Sleepy Hollow, which carried good ratings for its first couple of seasons before being shunned to Friday night death slots. The very same thing I said now doesn't exist anymore in this video. Okay, now it's time to make an illogical jump to the next part of the video. Hear me out because News Time is all I got. Scooby-Doo has the widest range of horror crossovers that I could think of. They've met everyone, way more than Alvin and those chipmunks. It all started with the 13 Ghosts, then Ghoul School, who in turn would become part of the OKKO universe. I'm a sad man. With knives. Scoob and the gang have always been laced in horror antics. It's the whole concept of what their shows are based around. More recently, the direct-to-DVD movies have been excuses for the group to meet up with wrestlers. And of course, there was that Supernatural crossover that I meant to watch. It looks just like the old show would today. Good job, Warner. But there was a time the Mystery Inc. crew would meet up with other Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Huge stretch. One that stood out in particular was the Johnny Bravo episode. Scooby has been around since the 60s, but remained in the zeitgeist, not unlike a Marvel or DC character for decades. Speaking of comics, Do and the gang have teamed up with Batman more times than I can count. These knives are really distracting. But having him meet up with the now problematic Bravo was a boon no one knew we wanted. Prior to that, the Mystery Inc. team competed against the likes of Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, and a bunch of cartoon heroes and villains in the Laugh Olympics. Moving away from the cartoon antics of a talking stoner dog, let's pivot to the antics of a murderous serial killer named Hannibal. Horror movies making the jump to TV aren't always met with praise, but this show, like The Exorcist, after it garnered all of the praise. It was visceral and dark and made the many sequels and prequels in the film series look like child's play, not the Killer Doll series. The cast was insane. The writing was exceptional. It's too bad NBC ended the show. This was their period of canceling stuff that didn't get too many views. Little did they know that wouldn't matter in broadcast worlds just a couple of years later. Starz' Ash vs. the Evil Dead 2 did an excellent job of translating the movie universe to form, although it didn't get the views it should have gotten because, hey, it's Starz. The Bruce Campbell-led series was praised for what it was, but nostalgia can only take a good show so far. The show ended after 3 seasons, and Campbell said it was time to retire. What most of the shows I previously mentioned have in common are the accolades they've received, but of course, for every good show, there are bad shows, or adaptations in this case. The Mist is possibly the biggest misfire in movie-to-TV show translations since the last really big one. Really, Chad? You couldn't just type something there? This Spike TV series, Spike TV? I could have sworn this is a sci-fi joint, but Spike TV? Ugh. Whatever. All I know about this show is that it started rough and ended very much in the same way. I'm not a guy who follows reviews anymore, but this show did not do well on sites like the AV Club. This is how we all tied it together. James Wan, wanting to help find the next great horror director, will hopefully push the genre forward and open up the world to new horror voices. Meanwhile, Jason Blum saying there aren't any good female horror directors is problematic, but he's not the forefront authority on horror. We have A24, Wan, hell, even Universal has some horror bangers in their release pile. But Wan going towards TV to find the next mastermind is in itself masterful. Here's to you, James. Let's hope you find the right voice. I'll put down the knives now. And that's all the news I have for you for this week on News Time. Why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can always follow us on Twitter at @CComedy. Follow me on Twitter at @ChadLikeWhite. Like us on Facebook. Listen to the Constitutionals and the Application Podcasts. And now it's time for me to go killing. Seriously, I'm not going to kill anybody.